Good afternoon and welcome. Thank you for participating. Victory Bridge Foundation's Unsung Heroes Club Support Forum is a bi-weekly virtual support Zoom meeting that takes place on Wednesdays from 2 to 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It is a safe and confidential environment. The forum is open to all spouses, caregivers, and loved ones of active reserve and National Guard veterans and first responders. In this group, we encourage sharing personal struggles and victories. If you seek feedback or any advice, please tell us during your share. Otherwise, we will provide support. You can also use the chat to connect with others outside the group, and the chat button is right down at the bottom. Our goal is to create a safe place where everyone feels comfortable sharing, so please respect each other's boundaries. It is important to note that the forum is not a substitute for mental health counseling or therapy. Rather, we encourage participants to seek both individual and group therapy for comprehensive support. This group is not intended to be a networking platform nor a mentorship group. We can, however, provide you with trusted resources that do have such forums as above. Don't hesitate to ask. We believe in the power of collaboration. While we encourage any and all to share about exciting initiatives and impactful resources that can benefit the community, please be mindful of the difference between sharing and self-promotion. Keep your contributions brief, and if there's an opportunity for collaboration, please take it to a private conversation outside of the Zoom group. So we want to thank everyone for showing up today. Our Unsung Hero Club this is our, I guess, debut meeting. We're excited to just get this up and going. It's going to be a wonderful time, place for people to share who they are, what they're dealing with, and just to find that community that you may be looking for. My name is Jessica Christensen. I am an Army spouse of 30 years. My husband, Matt, joined the Army when he was 19, and we have been all over the world, all over the country. He has deployed to Afghanistan and Iraq, and also did a year in Korea by himself. So over those 30 years, we've had multiple times of separation, and with it, I have dealt with just taking care of the family by myself, but also having a husband who comes back with issues from his combat missions, from just other things that have happened. So he does suffer from PTSD, and it is, like I said, due to his time in Afghanistan and Iraq, but also an altercation with a suicidal slash homicidal soldier about 9 years ago. So that's who I am. I guess I'm currently living in Kalispell, Montana. My husband is retired, and we have 3 adult children who are all married, and 5 grandchildren. And Nina is the other face of the Unsung Heroes Club. So I will let Nina introduce herself to all of you.
Hi all, I'm Nina Eddington. I am, I guess, a new military spouse. My husband served 12 years, and I come from a family of military men. Both my grandfathers, one was Army, the other one was a Marine, and then my dad and all his brothers are Marines, Air Force, Army. On my mom's side, every male in their family has served in the military. So I come from a military family. I am currently a semester away from finishing a degree in criminal psychology, and I am really new to the military lifestyle as a spouse, but I get to deal with on an everyday basis having a husband who suffers from PTSD, and I I I kind of get PTSD by proxy from him just because I have to deal with whatever he goes through, we go through together. Um, I also, let's see, I have between us, we have 9 children. That's right, 9. They range from 24 to 7. So that's me.
Thank you so much, Nina. So What's wonderful about the Victory Bridge Foundation is that we have partners from different areas that we have come into relationship with. And one of them is relationship workout. It is, if you look up relationship workout, they have an incredible website. They offer a comprehensive self-guided insight and AI-powered tools to help men strengthen relationship skills. So they offer live webinars, podcasts, tools, master classes, and other resources to help men with their relationships. I know this might not be, like pertinent as far as we may have a lot of spouses on here, but you may be able to help your husband with, something like this. This might be something you want to look into. Because of this partnership we have with them, we have access to their webinars and their speakers. So I would like to introduce one of their speakers who is with us today, and that is Dr. Rivka Edery. Can you please go ahead and introduce yourself to us, Dr. Edery?
Hi, everyone. Sure thing. I'm so happy to be here today. My name is Dr. Rivka Edery. I am a doctor of clinical and applied psychology and licensed clinical social worker with multiple certifications in mental health. And I published a book, Trauma and Transformation, a 12-step guide in 2013. And that is a book on recovering from trauma based on the 12 steps of AA. So it's clinical, it's spiritual, it blends the two, it's holistic, and it's also timeless and classic. So it's another approach to healing from trauma, is really the taking accountability with spirituality. My professional background is I've been working with military, active duty, and their dependents for almost a decade. And so post-traumatic stress, injury issues that are unique to active duty is very close to my heart. It's my way of giving back to my country, is by serving the military in this way. It's no secret that the spouses and the dependents are fighting on their own war front. They're in their own battles. So thank you to your service. And what I'm here to talk about today is a topic that is something I'm very passionate about, which is how psychological flexibility with inner parts work can help veterans with PTSD. So I'm excited to bring this topic to you today. It is something that I've been researching, applying, and being in love with the past 2 to 3 years, and continues to have a notable effect with my active duty clients. So that's a little bit about me and my passions, and I want to thank Victory Bridge Foundation and Vince for the honor and the opportunity to be here with you today.
Thank you so much, Dr. Edery. So I was just going to ask some questions about kind of your topic on PTSD. So how is one way that I can support my husband in practicing psychological flexibility at home? Because I know that's what you were talking about. That's what the one webinar that you are going to have on relationship workout is going to be about. So maybe we could just talk a little bit about that here.
Sure, of course. So, supporting your husband in practicing psychological flexibility at home can be incredibly beneficial for both his well-being and your relationship. Here are some ways you can help. Number one, educate yourself. Learn about psychological flexibility. Understand the core concepts of accepting thoughts and feelings, being present, clarifying values, and taking committed action. This will help you empathize with your husband's struggles in addition to supporting his efforts. Research resources. Look for books, articles, or online courses on psychological flexibility. Share these resources with your husband or explore them together. And you can do a simple Google search of ACT, Acceptance and Commitment Therapy, and you will find a plethora of resources available. So number 2 is create a supportive environment. What does that mean? Four helpful ways to create a supportive environment. 1, open communication. Foster an environment where your husband feels safe to share his thoughts, feelings, and challenges without judgment. We all know that that inner critic can be very painful and very active, especially with those with PTSD. So if we can foster an environment where there's safety to express thoughts and feelings, that allows for open communication. 2, validate his experiences. Let him know that it's okay to feel whatever he's feeling and that you're there to listen and support him. 3, practice active listening. Pay attention to what he says, reflect on what you hear, and ask clarifying questions to ensure that you understand his perspective. And number 4, avoid giving unsolicited advice. Instead of jumping in with solutions, focus on helping him explore his options and discover his solutions. Number 3, encourage mindfulness practices. Practice mindfulness together, for example, meditation, deep breathing, or yoga as a couple. This can help both of you cultivate present moment awareness and reduce stress. Next, create a calming space. Designate a quiet area in your home where your husband can retreat to relax and practice mindfulness. And number 3, encourage breaks. Suggest that he takes short breaks throughout the day to practice mindfulness and recharge. Number 4, support value-driven actions. Explore values. How is this done? Help your husband identify what is truly important to him in life. This could be relationships, health, career, friendships, personal growth, or other areas. Next, set goals. Encourage him to set goals that align with his values and take small steps toward achieving them. And 3, celebrate progress. Acknowledge and celebrate his efforts no matter how small they seem. I always use the 1% rule, the 1% effort. So if we're talking about progress, how have you improved in your chosen value-driven target by 1%? That's much easier than trying to fix or change something entirely. And number 5, seek professional help. Encourage therapy. If your husband is struggling, suggest that he seek professional help from a therapist specializing in psychological flexibility or acceptance and commitment therapy, ACT. Couples therapy. Consider couples therapy to learn how to support each other in practicing psychological flexibility and strengthen your relationship. And remember, be patient if you can. Developing psychological flexibility takes time and effort. Be patient with your husband and yourself throughout the process. Lead by example. Practice psychological flexibility in your own life. This can inspire and motivate your husband. Show compassion. Offer your husband love, understanding, kindness, and support as he navigates his journey towards greater psychological flexibility. By incorporating these tips into your daily lives, you can create a nurturing environment where your husband feels empowered to embrace psychological flexibility and thrive. Did that answer your question?
That was great. That was really great information. Thank you so much. Nina,
Sure.
did you have a question that you wanted to ask her?
Yes. Um, what are the key signs that PTSD is affecting your relationship, and how can a spouse address those?
Okay, that's a really important question. Post-traumatic stress injury So I notice I put in an injury versus a disorder, right? It's popular as PTSD. Most definitely can impact relationships. So the first thing is recognizing and addressing the signs with empathy and understanding. And that is so important for maintaining a healthy and supportive connection. Let's talk about some key indicators that PTSD might be affecting your relationship. So from the Mayo Clinic, and I highly recommend, if anybody's interested, you can Google search PTSD signs and symptoms Mayo Clinic. They have a rich repertoire of information, as does va.gov. Okay, so the website for that is www.ptsd.va.gov. So, number one, let's talk about emotional and behavioral signs. Very common and popular, in other words, a very common trend would be emotional distance and detachment. Your husband may seem emotionally unavailable, withdrawn, or less interested in spending time together. Next, irritability and anger. He might have a shorter temper, become easily frustrated, or have angry outbursts. Difficulty with intimacy. PTSD can affect physical and emotional intimacy, leading to challenges with affection, sex, or vulnerability. Okay, and a good website that you may want to check out is National Center for PTSD. So far, we have the mayoclinic.org, National Center for PTSD, and ptsd.va.gov. Next would be hypervigilance and anxiety. He may be constantly on edge, easily startled, or have difficulty relaxing. Avoidance and withdrawal. He might avoid certain places, activities, or conversations that trigger memories of the traumatic event. Flashbacks and nightmares. These can be distressing for both your husband and you, leading to emotional turmoil and sleep disturbances. Self-destructive behaviors. He might turn to alcohol, drugs, or other harmful coping and what I refer to as avoidance mechanisms to manage the emotional pain. That's huge. Avoidance is huge with PTSD. Next is communication and connection signs. One, difficulty expressing emotions. He may struggle to share his feelings, leading to misunderstandings and resentment. Communication breakdowns. The trauma might affect his ability to communicate effectively, leading to arguments or emotional distance. Loss of trust. The trauma might have shaken his trust in others, making it a real struggle for him to be vulnerable and open in the relationship. And that's very easy to take personally. Very easy to take personally. And the last one is feeling unsupported. He may feel like you don't really understand his struggles or that you're not there for him. And that might be painful if that is projected onto you. And I see some nodding heads here, so I know that that's definitely common. So how could you address the signs? So we'll talk about 7 things you can do right now or within the next 24 hours. 1, educate yourself. Learn about PTSD and its impact on relationships. So fortify yourself with the knowledge and understanding of what your husband might be going through and respond with empathy. I always say this to my clients, to my spouses, and to my active duty. You don't have to like it. You don't have to agree with the behavior. You could be frustrated, angry. If you respond with empathy, you're helping your own nervous system dial down the stress, right? And we know our nervous systems interact with each other. So if you're dialing down your stress even 1%, that can help your husband dial down his for a moment. Next is open communication. Create a safe space for your husband to share his feelings and experiences, Listen actively without judgment. And you're going to hear me talk about, whenever I talk about this subject or anything in my line of work, open communication. You're going to hear that, and you're going to hear empathy. Those are, we can't fix the trials and tribulations of PTSD, but we can do our part to at least create a safe space for open communication and empathic, non-judgment listening. Okay. Number 3, validate his feelings. You'll hear me talk about that a lot too. Your emotions are valid and they're understandable. The behavior is not going to always be acceptable, and that's where boundaries come in. Okay, but emotions are valid, and the empathy is quite powerful. At the same time, you set the necessary boundaries and you take care of yourself. Encourage professional help. Suggest that he seek therapy from a mental health professional specializing in PTSD. Couples therapy can also be beneficial. And you can also remind him that we don't have the stigma like we used to have about going to therapy, whether you're a male or in the military system. The stigma has been reduced notably over the last 15 years. It's not perfect, but to suggest to him that he may need that extra support from a therapist, it might not be such a shocker to him, right? Practice patience and understanding. Remember that recovery from PTSD does take time. Be patient with your husband and yourself as you navigate this journey together. And I say, take good care of yourself, because supporting someone with PTSD often is emotionally draining. You may feel like you are bleeding energy, right? So make sure you have a support system and you take time for self-care that is right for you, right? So if you don't like jogging and that's not your self-care, then that's not on your list of self-care. If you like artwork or swimming or yoga, that's you tune in to what you need. And breath work is so important. Breath work is very powerful with this, okay? And lastly, set boundaries. So you will hear me talk about establishing healthy boundaries to protect your own well-being, at the same time being supportive. If you yourself feel overwhelmed or unsure how to navigate these challenges, consider seeking professional help for yourself. A therapist can provide guidance and support as you learn to cope with the impact of PTSD on your relationship. And remember, dear spouses, your love and support can significantly impact your husband's healing journey. By recognizing the signs and taking proactive steps, you can strengthen your bond and create a more loving, safe, and supportive relationship. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you very much.
Sure.
I just want to thank you so much, Dr. Edery, for being a part of today's meeting with us. That was incredible information, and definitely answered a lot for us. So I thank you so much, and we definitely look forward to working with you more in the future and stuff like that. And then also, I know with the Resiliency and Recovery Forum too, that that'd be a great place for you to be a part of also.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
Victory Bridge Foundation is built on the foundation of community and is run strictly by volunteer facilitators. Please consider volunteering as a co-facilitator for any week. To volunteer, please refer to the volunteer link provided in the chat section, which we'll throw in there here pretty soon. But I also put in there our website and our Facebook page and our LinkedIn page also. I'm just so thankful for everybody being here and being willing to share, and just for the wonderful, incredible information that Dr. Rivka gave us. We'll go ahead and close up our session, and we will see you guys in 2 weeks. We're going to have another guest, actually a couple of guest speakers. Nina, do you want to let everybody know?
In 2 weeks, on the 14th, we will have the authors, Sean and Stormy Andrews, who wrote the book 21 Laws to Keeping Your Woman in Check, which you have to read before you just base anything on the title. So looking forward to that session.
Yeah, so their book is kind of what, satirical, you know, a
Yeah,
little
it's a
funny.
satirical take on the alpha male and how be alpha, and the wife's just like, no, you're not. I do this, this, and this. So it's just a really funny back and forth outtake, which I had to stop and read the book because I was like, wait a minute, what is going on with this title? But it's awesome. It's a good book.
Okay, so we look forward to that, and we look forward to just everybody joining in, and hopefully we'll get more in the next few sessions. But I guess thank you so much, everybody, for being here and for participating and being a part of it. We absolutely enjoyed it.